You see some words on the screen. I don't know whether you can read them or not, but there is a common theme behind each of these words. If you have paid attention to what people have talked about today, I see there are three themes. One, people who have done something different. They have innovated or improved processes. Two, people who have changed something. And three, people who have come out of a difficulty. Now, all three of them, in my opinion, come from a state of mind which is confusion. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I personally think that confusion is not a bad thing at all. And as students, this is the most common state of mind. We are confused about everything, right? And I'm going to tell you how being confused is good. It helps you because it gives you a direction and it leads to change, which all of us have talked about today. Change is always good. That's my theory. And I'm just going to throw some light through personal experiences and connect you with them. In times to come, you will see those situations coming to you, whether you go for higher ed, you go for a job, you start up, or you do something different. You work for a social cause. So every person here that you saw today faced some sort of chaos or confusion in life, but they went ahead and caused the change. So I'm going to start somewhere in India, and this could be anywhere, in 2002. And this is kind of my story, but I'm going to relate it to how confusion was faced at every point of time in my life. So this was when I was in class 12th. Now, I could not get into the IITs, so that was a different story. And now I had to choose which college should I go to. My parents loved me a lot, right? And Anshulika might disagree, but I actually followed them. So my mother told me that stay close to where we are. And they were purely based in NCR. So they told me that whichever best college you get in Delhi, just go for it. So I went to Indraprasth University. Now, I'll not say whether it was a change that was good or not, but let me tell you, this campus is excellent, right? You guys are very lucky. But there is something that you guys are missing that we were luckier. I'll give you 3 reasons. In fact, I'll describe the campus that we were part of. It was at Kashmiri Gate, and you could divide the campus in 3 areas. One, where there were 90 students of USIT, US Chemical Technology, and Biotech. That formed the engineering division. Something like, not so good, but that's fine. Then you had the Law and Legal Studies College. Very similar to a Delhi University campus, buzzing with life. But the third part was a building that housed more than 500 girls from the IGIT, right? So the campus was nowhere close to an engineering campus, right? And that was the best part. Yeah. So you had more options available. Now, so there was a confusion in my mind whether I'm going for the right thing or not, and whether it actually helped me or not, that's a different question, but it really made me go for something that changed my life forever. So I went for an engineering degree. I still don't know why I did that, to be very honest. And some of you might have that question that, are we in the right place? Were we made for engineering or not? We have someone like Arvind, who though is making or playing guitars, but has actually put his engineering to use, right? He's making guitars. I don't know how many of us will do that. How many of us will actually put our engineering to use? I have not done it so far, right? I'm completely not a technology guy, because there is something that happened in my life when we moved forward. Yes, 2005, when I was just 3 years into graduation, I felt there is something missing. I need to do something different. And what happened is the annual college fest happened, Info Expression. And while organizing that, we actually became quite late one day, so I stayed in hostel. And that was like an eye-opener. I thought there is another life on earth. Because my parents never allowed me to go away from their eyes, and hostel life was something like, I always understood that students or children who are bad-mannered are sent to hostels. But that was never the case. I stayed in a hostel and I found out that it is different from my life in 3 ways. A, I can go to sleep without being sick. B, actually, in fact in hostels if you go to sleep at 10 in the night, then people say that you are sick. So that was one. Second was that I could leave my clothes and things anywhere I wanted, even if that was not in my room. Yeah, I'll not come to where you will leave them. And the third one was that I could talk to anyone I want at any point of time in the day and no one will stop me. And that actually nourishes a lot of things in the human mind. And that's when I decided I need to be a part of hostel life. So I thought I'll go for higher education, whatever it may be. And some day in my life, I'd still fear that day. I just wrote CAT, and luckily I got into an institute that they call one of the best of the country. So I was at IIM Indore. I somehow landed there, and then I was like, okay, let me enjoy my hostel life. But there was something that confused me further. 2007, it had already been 1 year. There was a 100% attendance rule in our college. 100%. You were not allowed to fall sick. Like, you were not supposed to fall sick. If you're sick, you have to come to class and give your attendance. Just sit there, right? So because there was a 100% attendance rule, we could not go out. And the campus was 30 kilometers away from city. If you think about vacation out of Indore, there are 3 places: Sanchi Stupa, Omkareshwar, and Mahabaleshwar. And yeah, I forgot one more. There is Ujjain. So there was so much of spirituality all around that I felt like the hostel life was somewhere getting lost. And there was nothing extracurricular to do. So what we did is, there was a B school event. We applied to that. We thought we need to get out of all these shackles. So we got selected as one of the finalists, but there was the 100% attendance rule. And that's where I would like you all to think, what do you do when you are in such a situation? What we did, we just went there. And we thought we're not going to worry about our grades, because if you don't conform to the attendance rule, you get an F in the course where you are absent. You get a fail. That was the rule, right? And so in your placements, there is an F. Now, most of you think about B schools as something to get good jobs, right? And if you have an F, that ruins everything. So we went there, we won. And after that, it sparked the change. There were so many teams from the college that went outside, they won. Some of them could not win, they came back. But with the efforts of everyone, now the rule is down to 80%, and Indore has its name somewhere on the map of India. There was another event where we went, and this is interesting. So the same year we went to an event, and you normally interact with people outside the event. So we were having lunch. And the way B school students have lunch is not the way engineers have lunch. They are a different breed altogether, right? So we went to a fine dining restaurant, all of us dressed in suits and sitting across the table. And what we saw, and you won't believe, there were few people from one of the top colleges of the country who didn't know which side is the bread plate and which side is the dinner plate. So they were having food from some other plate, and I was surprised. Think around it, the Indian education system, you are being taught that you should clean your nails, but you are never told when should you use your nails to pick up food and when should you use fork. You are being taught to brush your teeth, but you are not told when you can use your teeth directly to have food or not. And that's when we decided that we need to move into an area which is called life skills. We forgo our placements and we decided we are going to talk to students, tell them the importance of life skills. Because this is the most important thing that people will notice when you go global. So we started working on it. We found that this is an exciting idea, brilliant idea. Life skills is not there in India. No one is doing it. So let's do it. And whenever you have an idea, you think that's the best idea in the world. So we started working on that. And after 2 years of rigorous work, one of our professors at the Noida campus told us that, hey, I'll allow you to give a session on life skills. But you know, the problem was I was only 2 years experienced, and the audience was an executive MBA batch. Now, executive MBAs are those people who feel the loss of student life somewhere down the road, and they come back and do an executive MBA after having experience. So there were people who were 10, 15, 20 years experience, and we had to tell them that, hey, these are life skills. You are telling me I have lived half my life more than you, and you're telling me this is life skill, right? So that was a challenge, and I was very confused how we are going to do this. But then we researched, and we found that instead of telling them how to do it, we have to make them do it, right? So we devised a way of doing it in an interactive manner, and it kind of worked. But then it brought a question that, why is life skills not there in India? And that is because it's not there at the grassroots level. You can't teach someone life skills. It has to come up. It has to come from within. So we went back and we studied the Indian education industry. Now you can see two numbers here. First one, around 28,000. That's the annual fees a student pays at an average public school. The second one is also the annual fees a student pays at an IB school. Two students from these two schools figured in the top 10 All India ranks. Both of them paid different money, but they got the same education. What's the difference? The difference is that 0.05% of Indian students who pay for an IB education are actually told that they are being taught life skills. Now, which is my market? Is my market A or is my market B? Actually, it's none. Because at one event, we met a principal. This was in a Kendriya Vidyalaya, and I don't know how many of you are coming from KVs, but Kendriya Vidyalayas are the foundation for Indian education. And we met a principal who told that this is great work you are doing, you are going to schools and giving life skills, but I'd like you to think, do you want to work for public schools and make a lot of money, but I'll give you a chance to do something at a Kendriya Vidyalaya, right? We'll not pay you that money, but we'll give you an honorarium, and I'll pass that message on to my DC, who's a deputy commissioner of all the KV Sangathan that you have in India. So I told her, let's give it a try. But I was very confused because we were at a stage we had foregone our jobs, we were there to make money, and the IB schools were ready to give it because they had parents who were scared. Now in India, if you can scare the parents, you can get any money out of their pocket, right? Because it is for their child, who they would like to pamper and give false lies, as one of the ladies earlier talked about. So we decided that let's give it a try, and that was the path-changing event in our story. Think around it, there are 700 Kendriya Vidyalayas in the country with more than 70,000 students. We got an entry, and then there was no looking forward, looking back. Today, if someone asks me, which industry do you belong to? I say education. And then they say, oh, okay, that's fine. People actually question you when you tell them that you're working in the education industry. They ask you, why? Why did you go for an MBA? And I said, they are going to ask you the same question when you go for an MBA. The first question they ask, why do you go for MBA? My honest answer, for hostel life, right? And you have to find that answer. If people like you are thinking around, I have to go for an MBA, or I need some experience before jumping to start my own business. MBA tells me how to do business, not at all. If you ask me, I would like to erase some portions of my life. Not completely, but I would disagree that MBA teaches you how to do business. Common sense teaches you how to do business, right? Not many people who are MBAs do business, and vice versa. Think around it. There are two things that I would like to talk about. Do you know what this is? Recently, the Modi government announced 22,000 crores budget only for skill development, life skills and skill development. Now that's a big change that comes to you. We have stayed in that industry for long, and we believe that we can be a part of it. But it's been a 6-year-long journey, and it's always tough. being in a journey which does not give you monetary returns. Of course, yeah, satisfaction is there. But you have to decide whether you want money. If you want money, go get that job at Google, Microsoft, whatever comes to your campus, and get done with, right? And I'll tell you, going for a job right now, you may be better off than going for MBA. Do you know who this man is? This man is Salman Khan. No, not the one that we have in India. This man does not bare his body. Exactly. This man is the man behind a revolution in education. There are people who make choices, who come out of that confusion. Now, he's had the best of education in his life. But it's a pity that people who are the top performers never go out and share their views in the education industry today. They go out and join big conglomerates, they go out and join big companies, and in India, there is a lack of people in the education industry. I actually admire professors and teachers who are sitting to impart education to others, because that builds your future. I have just two things to say, and I think people earlier have repeated that. You have to trust your instincts. There were people who asked me, how do I take risks? Because there are risks in starting up. So I said, what is the risk? It's all in the mind. There is no risk. You can any day go back to the job market, as she talked about, and I'll not repeat that. And you can any day go back to studies. But if you have something, go try it out. The risk is not in starting up. The risk is to take that first step forward. Trust your instincts. They will never be wrong. I'll give you an incident. When I interview people, I put a parallel line to my wife, and I just make her hear the interview. 10 on 10, she's correct on which is the right candidate and which is not. Always. And she just tells me on the instinct. Anyway, women are much more instinctive than men. That's a fact, actually. Because they actually know, they can connect with people, not through their mind, but through their heart as well. So I'll say go with your instincts, trust your instincts. Change is always good. Any change that happens, yeah. Curriculum, courses, anything that happens in your life, which is a change, is always good. But you have to be that change. You have to cause that change. Last but not the least thing, if you're looking to start up today. Rise now. Going for a job is also starting up. Starting a new career, going for higher ed is also starting up. And starting your own firm or a venture is something that you should be proud of. Go and do it so that you don't feel that I never tried. Thank you.